Welcome back, everybody. I gotta get used to where this thing is. I might actually bring this up a little higher, so just bear with me. This might be messy. That looks about eye line. I can deal with that. Welcome back. I moved things around. I've made a nice pot of coffee, and I'm getting my game on. Today is going okay so far. I have had to record a couple of videos again because I left my phones on and it was picking up the searching for cellular. Out here it's constantly trying to find cellular, so I've put them into airplane mode so I don't pick up any audio stuff, but do bear with me on that. Right, so today I quickly wanted to show you my how I have media in the Caravan. So I don't use my main computer. That stays off-site. It goes in my prototype case that I've got, and that goes away. But I've got a £99 IPS screen in the van, which I've mounted on the wall so you can sort of bring it out. I kind of like that because also if you're in bed, you can kind of do that. You can watch it in bed, which is kind of cool. But yeah, it's running a Raspberry Pi with a thing called Kodi.tv. So if I just fire up my wireless mouse by turning it on, you'll see that it lights up. And you'll probably see this before, so I'm not going to go into Kodi too much. If you haven't seen Kodi, Kodi.tv, Kodi.tv. It's a media player. You link up all your various bits and pieces to it, and you can play all your content. I've got that connected to a sound dock, so the audio comes out of that. And then I've also, you can't see up here, but I've got my Raspberry Pi, a router, and my 3TB drive all connected together so that everything is in a nice put together package. That's not really what I want to talk about today. What I've been working on is I've been sketching out my numerous amounts of sketches. I can't stop writing and drawing sketches out. I've seen people building clusters using Raspberry Pis. And just recently, my daughter has got into Minecraft. So Ella said to me, is there any chance, you can build me a computer with Minecraft on it? And I looked at the cheapest way of doing it, and I thought, maybe I can get her a laptop for a couple of £100 and install full-fledged, full-fat Minecraft on that. But then the bargain hunter in me wanted to do it on the cheap. So I thought, okay, I'll build a Raspberry Pi with Minecraft on it. Can't be that hard. And from all the instructions that I've found so far, it doesn't look actually that hard. But I didn't have a Raspberry Pi spare. So what I've done is I've gone out, because it seemed the right time to do it, and bought the new Raspberry Pi 2, which is supposedly 6 times faster than the one that I've got running this. Now, Ella's going to have my old one. I'm going to swap out my Kodi with this, the Raspberry Pi 2. This has, Kodi has a new version out for the Raspberry Pi 2 that takes advantage of the extra power. So there's a 1 gigabit CPU in this. I think sorry, I might have got that wrong. It's 1 gigabyte of RAM. Sorry, it's got the Broadcom quad core CPU in it. That's what I'm on about. Micro USB slot, 4 USB ports, so it's got 2 more than the other one. Full size HDMI, 4-pole stereo output, composite video port, etc., etc. So same price as the original one, but 6 times more power, which is just crazy that in a year or so they've managed to do that, which is amazing. UK invention from Cambridge. Raspberry Pi, going to be everywhere. If you don't know what a Raspberry Pi is, it's not just the one that you eat. It's a computer in a box. And just to give you a quick view of this, you probably know what these are as well. I'm not going to take it out of the packet because it's anti-static, but it's 2 USB ports. It's got a little 4 USB ports, power, Ethernet, HDMI out, everything you need to put in a little tiny box and connect up to a screen to use as a media player. So for £30–35 you can basically build a media player, which is crazy. There's never had that pricing point before. Anyway, what I'm introducing today is a project that I'm going to be working on. I'm going to try and do it weekly, depending on money. I'm going to try and do it weekly, but it's to build this. And I'm calling it, a fancy name, switchboard for the time being. So I've seen lots of people building clusters with Raspberry Pis, and that's all very geeky and very cool, building a cluster to compute something, having, say, 10 Raspberry Pis together to do something. But I wanted to use Raspberry Pis in a different way. I wanted them still to be in a cluster configuration, so stacked together. That's why I've kind of put them in a stack like this. But instead of them clustering just to do one job, I'm going to have individual slices of Raspberry Pi that sounds ironic, but slices of the Raspberry Pi hardware technology all stacked above each other and all doing different functions. So one of the functions will be coding, and another one might be Minecraft, a Mumble server for audio, TeamSpeak kind of thing, graphing, a tweet wall, Dropcam preview, Audio Pi for really high-end audiophile kind of music server, solar and power tracking, newsletter sign up. I don't know why I put that in there. I think that was because I'm moving towards events. But the idea is that everything will fit inside a box, which I'm going to laser cut. And I've started buying all the bits and pieces for it already. So one of the things that I bought for it is these Fractal Design Silent Series R2 case fans. Now, you're probably thinking, why have I bought a case fan? The idea is that, if you can imagine this will be at the bottom. This will be at the bottom of the case. So I might have two in series, or it might just have that. And then we'll have the Raspberry Pis inside another box, all stacked up. So it'll be like a case that you can hold and take with you, and have air filter at the top and an air. So you pull down from the top, air pulls in from the top, goes over the Raspberry Pis and exhausts at the bottom. Or in fact, probably the other way around. So that it goes out top, heat comes out top. Depends on what configuration that you have the box. It depends on what configuration you have that. Sort of, if it's sort of left or right in where you're going to put it. The reason for this, the reason why I decided to build this, is that I have these spaces in the Caravan, these like little windows, if you like. They're not windows, but they're cupboards. Oh, windows, cupboards, windows to the world. They're cupboards where I want to cut out the middle section on some of them and put screens. Now they're 13.3 millimeter, 13.3 inches across, and I'm not quite sure how many is it high, but you can get an LCD screen in there. So that's what I'm going to try and do. I'm going to quickly flip round and show you what they look like. Actually, I think that'd be a good idea. I've just raised my screen up. I've just raised up the thing just so you can see it. But this is where all the router and the Raspberry Pi and everything. That's what a Raspberry Pi looks like when it's in a box. Very tiny little thing. But these are the cupboards. So what I was going to do is build into this a kind of screen. This could have a, like I said on this list, graphing. It could have a tweet wall in it. One of the things was the solar power. Once you get solar power running, you can see how efficient or effective that is. So that's kind of my project, and I'm going to do it over, let's get back. I'm going to do it over 10 weeks. It's probably going to take longer because I can't really afford 30 quid every week, but I want to kind of get into some kind of momentum so that a new Raspberry Pi comes every week and I put it in the stack. And every time I do that, I want to do a video of how I'm utilizing that processor and that computer to do a certain function. Now you're probably saying, why not just do 3 or 4 different functions on one Raspberry Pi? The new Pi 2 is very fast that you could do a few more things on it. Yes, I could do that. I like the idea of having them on individual units and then gradually adding to it. So one of the things will be maybe a thing called Nagos. I think it's Nagos or Nagios, something like that, which is a network mapping CPU analytical tool, which will give me an idea of how much CPU power each one of these individual processes and tasks does on each machine. So it might be that one of them doesn't do things very often, might be graphing that only sort of grabs information maybe every 60 seconds, and even then it's very, very low, just a web request out. That could become my sort of web box. But I want to do it so that I can kind of make a show around it. And then the idea is that this box will also power the different screens. So instead of having a Raspberry Pi in each one of these spaces, I'll have one unit and I'll make a breakout and a splitter so that I can split those things around and have different things on different screens. So pretty exciting. I like making stuff like that. I've already bought some aluminium fans, little filter to go on the bottom. So you've got that thing, and then you've got that on top of it. So make it kind of snazzy. And I literally mocked this up while I was working away, and I've got a whole idea for it in terms of the different kind of installations that you can have on those Pis. And I'll probably make image files so you can download them and just literally put them onto an SD card, put it in the machine, and you're ready to go. That's the intention. But obviously, it's not a cheap thing. If I'm going to do 10 of them, so they work out about £30–35 each just for the unit. £30 for the unit, probably another £5 for the power socket. So I've got to start thinking about how I'm going to power them all. Do I just have a bank of batteries, or do I have a big power source and then have different split micro USBs off that? And do I have reset switches and etc.? So it's a process every week that I'm going to have to iterate. To start off with, it's going to be really messy because most of the stuff that I build is really messy to start with. But I was thinking, you know, do I make it headless? How do I go about doing the audio routing on it? How do I get all the Ethernets into a switch? So if there's 10 of them, I need a 10 port gigabit switch. And how do I do that? Do I just, you know, have a row of them and then sort of have special custom Ethernet connectors in there? I don't really know how I'm going to do that yet. They may be flat connectors, flat cabling. But the box, I don't want to go too big with the box, and it might be that there's external things in the box. But yeah, pretty excited about it because it solves a problem that I have in the Caravan. Instead of installing a Raspberry Pi unit in each one and not knowing where each one is, and the ability to make it portable as well. Because it got me thinking that I could take it from the Caravan, take the different SD cards out, put different SD cards in for different events. So it might be that one of them is a channel manager for a multi-screen display. So yeah, there's a lot of things that could be done with it. I've also come up with a little wooden sleeve that we could send to clients as well as the box. They could hire the box out. We put the SD cards in, or they put them in for different functions. Or you could use them at events, training kids at like Coda Dojo. So you can have this box with all the Pis in there, with a different sort of SD card for Minecraft, etc., and have like a 10-user machine in a small box, just linked to machines to screens that are already at the venue. So exciting, because it's kind of a smaller scale thing to responder, and it's something that I can build up weekly because the price of it's reasonably cheap, and then over time I can start designing based on the size of it a box around it using the 3D laser cutter, wood cutter, and cut out a design around it so that I can put handles and various things on it. So watch out for more on that. I really wanted to tell you about that, and I'm getting excited about it just talking about it. I've not even had coffee yet. That's scary. But yeah, the Raspberry Pi 2 is going to get swapped out with the latest version of Kodi, which runs with the extra power of Pi on this. And Ella is finally going to get her Minecraft server. That's it for today. I'll catch up with you soon. Bye.
Look to my coming on the first light of the 5th day. At dawn, look to the east, just past that Starbucks.